of the madness, the political madness playing out globally. One wonders, what sort of surprises we're going to be in for, from not even from day to day, but from moment to moment, with obviously the Trump administration and the madness, the genocide, the ethnic cleansing. I'm kind of at a loss for words to describe just exactly what is happening in Palestine right now. And I think it's now reached the point of being a Holocaust. Be that as it may, we're going to be talking about the Trump administration, and we do also understand that Donald Trump has reiterated his stance that he won't be attending the G20 summit in November. He maintains very steadfastly that the reason, and listen to this is the punchline, which I still can't get over, but the reason that he refuses to attend is the victimization of white people. I will repeat that, which I think is a killer, the victimization of white people. Professor Kedibone, Phago, very good morning to you. Welcome. And let's go straight into your response to that opening statement.
Yeah, indeed, Julie, we are shocked by what is happening globally. These are very interesting developments, and what a time to live and witness some absolute insanity in so many ways, because in most cases we really don't even know or understand or preempt some of the reactions and that we are seeing, especially from the new Trump administration in the US. So it is what it is now, but the baseline, the understanding, at least for the past few months that his administration came into being, is to really look at it from, in fact, it is the previous president in the US president, Joe Biden. He actually said that it is the government of the oligarchs that have taken over US government. And in some of the conversations, somebody, intimated to me that they have about 4 billionaires in that government. If that is not a red flag, I don't know what that could be. And essentially it means that the private business agenda have taken over the role of government, what government seeks to do or to achieve, which is primarily to take care of the welfare, the well-being of the American people. And so we shouldn't be surprised that these kinds of utterances and postures are just going to continue, because the intention here is to make more business for the members of cabinet.
Sad to say then that this might push the people on the street towards demanding socialism and wanting socialist government, not only in America, but all around the world. That being said, you mentioned billionaires in the US government. One of them, obviously, which people refer to very loosely as Elon Musk actually being the president of the United States. Very, very dangerous terrain there on. Biden has gone out to make the statement that there are 4 billionaires driving the government of the USA. However, the Democrats, and whilst he was in power, hasn't done the global economy or the global politics any favors. They too had a very nefarious agenda. It was always to serve the American people's best interests. So I don't think Joe Biden is in a position to really cast stones on the Trump administration, because in their own way, they too have created a lot of the cracks that we are seeing now. That's the statement that I put to you. And also, going forward, do you believe that the current administration, Trump's administration, has enough muster to be able to carry out all of their threats and promises as far as global politics and the global economy is concerned?
Julie, I 100% agree with your perspective there that we cannot exonerate Joe Biden's administration, but we need to, and that is a very important point you are making, because America's foreign policy has always been very consistent, irrespective of the president. But I think there are just new nuances and dynamics that we have seen at the moment with the current president, coming up with the kind of tariffs, the executive orders that he has been doing. This has never been seen before in the US, and that's why I think has sent the world, into an immediate, complete shock waves. So that is the major nuance that I think is taking place at the moment. Now, the 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 Trump administration's global agenda and what it seeks to do and serve the American people at the same time, it's going to be a tall order, I think. Uh, I do not think that there is any government, even if it's a super government. The Elon Musk's department is called Department of Government Efficiency, something like that. I don't think that there will ever be any government that would be able to absorb the amount of pressure that President Trump is bringing to the American administration. But, we will have to wait and see if they are able to do that. There is no way any institution, because institutions are about process, they are about systems in place, they are about bureaucracy. If it does happen, it's going to really have huge implications in the way government does its work, that is going to undermine the credibility of many established institutions in the US. And this is why, you need to have checks and balances in the entire state machinery, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. And even within the executive itself, these institutions have received so much pressure, pressure about the immigration, pressure about the tariffs, uh, pressure about the US withdrawing their commitment to global agendas, the NATO, their EU friends, their contribution to World Health Organization, and even on PEPFAR kind of arrangements that they've been doing globally. So I really honestly don't see how the US government is going to manage to handle all these things at the same time within this 4-year period of Donald Trump. So the only conclusion I have is that it's going to cripple the American system, it's going to create multiple parallel systems, and that would really be a tragedy to the US economy and its position as a global leader at the moment.
Okay, we need to go for our first ad break. When we come back, we'll continue with this discussion. Very interesting indeed. I'd just like to make a comment before I leave you for the ad break, and that is we speak about Elon Musk running the Department of Government Efficiency. We need an Elon Musk here in South Africa to sort out our
Yes.
problems in government wastage and government over expenditure, and obviously the shenanigans that goes on amongst the corrupt government officials here in South Africa. So all I say is we need an Elon Musk in South Africa, South African government. But let's go for that ad break. We'll be back with you in a minute or two.
Thank you.
This is Salam Media.
You know, it's a wonder how kids get anything done these days. With all the distractions, when do they even get time to study? As a mother, all I can really do is make sure they have all they need to perform at their best. That's why I choose to include Sunfoil, triple refined pure sunflower oil with every meal I make. Naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether I'm cooking, frying or baking, I know every dish will be a wholesome one. Sunfoil, now we're cooking.
They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, yet many children go to school hungry because of poverty. Penny Appeal South Africa's Breakfast Club aims to get a warm, hearty meal to underprivileged children so they can spend their day prospering in their schoolwork. Help feed a needy learner for only 5 Rand a day, or 150 Rand a month. Or visit our website www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573 to find out how you can donate. Penny Appeal South Africa. Small change, big difference.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042-203-1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Abu Huraira narrated that he heard the Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, say, "In black seed there is a healing for every disease except death." This Ramadan, experience the health benefits of this ancient blessed seed by using the Tib Black Seed range. Black seed assists the body to boost immunity, regulate blood sugar levels, reduce inflammation, and act as a potent antioxidant. Experience a holistic approach to health by introducing the Tib Black Seed range into your Ramadan routine. Available in capsules, pure cold-pressed oil, and a vapor rub. Trust Tib Health Sciences for quality black seed products. For more information, visit blackseed.co.za. Available at leading pharmacies.
Valley's Motor Spares. We supply motor spares and accessories for all makes and models of motor cars, LDVs, bakkies, trucks, and earth-moving equipment. We deliver on time, every time. Please contact us via WhatsApp on 014-592-0925 or call 014-592-0925 or visit 28 Zenderling Street, Rustenburg. Remember the name, Valley's Motor Spares.
Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media, coming to you live from South Africa.
Welcome back. It is exactly 21 after 8 o'clock this Monday morning. We're talking with Professor Kedibone Phago. He's a political analyst and he's based at Northwest University. We are obviously talking about Donald Trump reiterating his stance that he won't be attending the G20 summit in November. And of course, he maintains the reason being the victimization of white people in South Africa. So we're going to hone in on that in a minute or two, but I just want to go back to a comment that Professor made before the ad break. Welcome back, Professor. You spoke about the executive orders and the holding back of funds, PEPFAR, USAID, etc., not only to South Africa, but to all developing countries around the globe. I kind of wonder, this is really a situation that needs to be viewed holistically. When we look at PEPFAR, these funds have been made available to developing countries around the world, as I've just indicated. And I kind of wonder, what is the trade-off? We've been getting these funds to address HIV, AIDS, and other such healthcare issues, not only South Africa, but other countries as well. At what cost? Trump makes it sound as if the United States has been giving this aid out of the goodness of their hearts. But we do know that all of these issues are absolutely transactional. There's no such a thing as a free lunch. So at what cost did it come to the developing countries? And if this is truly, if this aid is not forthcoming, will we as countries be able to sustain it? Would we be able to get money from somewhere regarding, probably from our tax base or someplace, to fund these programs? Because if we don't, we're going to be a nation of very sick people.
That's right, Julie. I think the quick one is to say South Africa's dependence on the USAID, especially the health funding, was not really. I think it was less than 5% of the total expenditure on AIDS and HIV campaigns and awareness. So it's not really as significant as maybe it's portrayed, and that it shouldn't really harm us that much. Of course, it comes in billions of rands, so it would mean that they would need to the government would need to go and find money elsewhere. So that should again come from the taxpayer. So perhaps government may need to change its priorities and put in some money to replace the withdrawn American support in that regard. And then the other dimensions that we have, in fact, from government reports, they indicate that we have in South Africa over 600 US companies that are operating in the country and on the continent at the moment. So South Africa itself has more than 600 American companies at the moment that are operating here. And this leads me to your point around how do we relate with the Americans? Is it not transactional? Are they just giving us money out of the goodness of their hearts? It is a complex question and needs a lot of multidimensional perspective, because South Africa has had very positive relations with the US for many years. In fact, there would even be business forums that would sit and debate and discuss how they would both countries need to manage their bilaterals and what kind of relationships they need to build with one another. So it is in those cases, for example, that we now even have AGOA arrangements, the African Opportunity Growth Act, which essentially covers the relations between America and African countries, including South Africa as one of the anchor countries for the AGOA deal. But what we see is that the moment the Trump administration introduces tariffs has actually immediately meant that the AGOA deal, it's already out of the window. And that is not just for South Africa, even for countries that Americans themselves are praising for the relationships, the good relationships they have, like Botswana. So it is, as you say, very transactional, but it has always, by and large, although we have benefited from those funds, there is a report, the AU report, I think about 5-6 years ago, our former president Thabo Mbeki did, looking at the illicit financial outflows from Africa to the West. In fact, the US and European countries, they are massive. So by and large, they will use these relationships, this funding, to advance a neo-colonial model where they freely access our resources and our funds to build their economies. And so it helps to have these relationships because they are able to influence our politicians and decision-making processes in our countries.
Okay, Professor, are you still with us?
So,
Your
point
picture
of
is
view that we
frozen.
do consider.
Okay, and yet the Trump administration and other Western countries always make it seem as if the developing countries are always approaching them with a begging bowl, which in fact is not the case, because there is a payoff. And why has no one on the continent or any developing country tried to correct that narrative? And it is time that we spoke up and get the record straight. Having said that, our final question of the morning then is the implications of Trump not attending the G20 summit. We do know that Marco Rubio didn't attend the meeting of ministers recently, foreign ministers, obviously, regarding the G20 summit. Do you think Marco Rubio not having attended the meeting of ministers created any problems? Were there any repercussions, not only to us in South Africa, but other developing countries? And the implications of Trump then not attending the upcoming summit in November?
Look, Julie, I think this is an excellent point that we need to spend a lot of time thinking and strategizing on. I just feel sometimes that our government is not taking this matter at a strategic level. Essentially, in the beginning, as you would have noticed, we did not understand why Donald Trump's administration is actually using a false narrative around what is happening in South Africa and posturing that, and going even on social media to perpetuate that kind of a narrative. So we know it is not true. And so even for Marco Rubio not to come to South Africa, it's a posture to say this is where we stand with the South African government, and that is actually saying that our bilateral, they also have dismissed our ambassador Ibrahim Rasool. So it tells us that our relations are not really at their best at the moment. And the question I think we need to be entertaining as South Africans is, what can we do about this situation? And for me, that is an important point, because what we're going to do will determine whether we come out stronger after Trump's administration or even weaker. America is a superpower, so you have to be careful how you engage them. And my take is that if we can get the attention of Donald Trump at this particular moment to put us as a country on the spotlight, it is also, although it's intended to harm our international image and bring in a lot of challenges in terms of us getting investors to come to South Africa and trust that we are a proper investment destination. I think we should take a look at the opportunities this offers and find ways of marketing our country's democracy, tourism, and I feel that we can actually do far much better if we focus on those kind of issues, using Donald Trump's, platform indirectly. That I think would help us to even become much more relevant and become a premier destination for tourism in South Africa, in the global context. So we've got a lot actually that we can do at this point in time, and I feel we should have moved to that space as soon as we understand the kind of problems that Donald Trump, the false narrative that is giving. I think we know what is happening now, and we should quickly move on to putting South Africa on a positive trajectory, paint it in a positive light, use media platforms to talk about the positive democracy and our institutions that are actually, performing to demonstrate that there isn't any person or a group of people that are being targeted. In fact, we have a freedom of speech, we have our political rights, and we express our opinion in the media, in the academy, even in the civil society spaces. So I think we should be going all out to really put this on the global map.
I just need to end off with one thought, and I kind of wonder. I'm sure I'm not. It's not even a situation of wondering. I think it's quite clear that we in South Africa are possibly being punished for our stance on the genocide, and the fact that we have taken we've taken Netanyahu and his genocidal killing machine to the ICJ, and perhaps that's the repercussions regarding that stance of ours. Your thoughts on that?
Look, Julie, I sometimes I think so, but sometimes I have my doubts on whether really Americans do care about that, or are they just using that issue to fight their battles? And the reason, part of the reason, is because we know South Africa has not acceded to Elon Musk's bidding to have a Starlink in the country, and then he went on a rampage and said that we are punishing white people. White people cannot do business in South Africa because of our laws. So sometimes, we really don't know what are the real issues, because for South Africa to have taken Israel on that case, it is the facts are in the public domain. The matter is handled publicly, so it shouldn't be something that we are really punished on, because there is no underhand activity there. So if Israel is not killing and destroying hospitals and killing the Palestinians, they should be able to go to the ICJ and say, look, this is not true. This is our vision. And so to politicize this means that it may just be one of the fronts. But as I said, you have a government of the oligarchs that wants to generate as much income and money as possible, so they can use any matter that they think would build their case.
Professor Kedibone Phago from Northwest University, you're also a political analyst. Thank you indeed for your insights on this matter. Lovely talking with you. Have a great day and God bless.
Thanks, Julie. Have a beautiful week ahead. Thank you.
Thank you indeed. 8:36 a.m. News and Views moving along. Please do stay with us. We are with you till 10 o'clock this morning.